How would you define social innovation?
Social innovation is not necessarily an easy concept to understand, but essentially it is about questioning why things are the way they are, and if you don't like them, doing something about it.
All across the world, countries are facing polycrises, and top-down approaches often fail, producing fragmented and polarizing outcomes. But locally led approaches, coupled with collective action and collaboration, could be key to solving major challenges like poverty, inequality, public health, and climate change. This transformational process is called
social innovation.
Social innovation is not providing a Band-Aid to particular problems. It's about trying to cure that problem.
People around the world have lost trust in government. They've lost trust in the private sector. They've lost trust in the media. And we're at a moment where we need new answers.
No sector has all the answers. Government, business, the citizen sector, universities all have a role to play. The problems are more complicated now than they used to be, and that cross-sector collaboration is critical.
When done effectively, social innovation can help us achieve lasting global transformation, far greater than what we can do on our own. To solve the world's most pressing problems, we need to trust those closest to the challenge. These are the solutions that make our world a better place for everyone. This is Rethinking Possible.
It's very important to think about the word transformational. A big part of driving change at scale is truly about transforming not only lives, but also systems. Across history, you see lots of examples of people who were bringing imagination and vision to disrupt the current framework. The civil rights movement, as well as elevating HIV/AIDS as a national medical crisis, brought in some of the innovations around narrative change. Narrative change is a huge driver around getting people's hearts and minds to change, and it is very good at making collective action come together.
Without doing that storytelling, it's an incredibly difficult thing to bring together the critical people that are required to move it forward.
It allows them to take good practices from all sectors and apply them to the problem at hand.
And so cross-sector collaboration is critical to drive the change that you want to see in the world. At Skoll, we bet on good people doing good things. And that starts with finding people who have lived experience of whatever problem they're trying to address. We don't think we have the answers. We think the answers reside in the people we're lucky enough to partner with and support. And that's the power of social innovation.
Any pregnant women?
Yeah, they are around 4.
All right.
One of the best examples of social innovation is the whole community health worker movement and idea.
Villages across the world don't have enough doctors. So how do you build an informal population to serve as healthcare providers?
Margaret.
In many communities, women volunteered to provide healthcare services. Organizations like Last Mile Health and Living Goods recognize the opportunity to train, equip, and pay these volunteers, allowing them to deliver essential services. This approach helped free up nurses and doctors to focus on more serious cases.
Through technology and video, there are enormous innovations in training paraprofessionals. It's not about building a hospital, it's about changing the way delivery happens.
The government of Liberia embraced this idea at scale, and it was honestly in response to the Ebola crisis. And it was proof at a country scale that you could really make everyone better off in the system. Think of the benefits to people back in the United States that a deadly disease was being stopped in Africa and not crossing that border. It's an incredibly difficult thing to pull off, but when you succeed, the results are truly life-changing.
Social innovation has played a critical role in the climate movement as well. The rainforests are referred to as the lungs of the planet because they're among the most important carbon sinks we have. But they're at risk of collapsing due to mining and illegal logging. Social innovators found that a strong way to fight back is through indigenous land tenure. Land tenure refers to the rules that determine who can own, use, or manage land. Indigenous peoples make up 5% of the world's population, and they manage or hold tenure rights to more than 25% of the planet's total land area.
There's indigenous wisdom that has lived in concert with land and caretaking of that land.
But in most cases, they did not have tenure to that land. And so social innovators working with indigenous communities started fighting for these land tenure rights.
There can be no more trade-off of human rights and protection of the environment.
And it's now been built into a global movement. Organizations like MapBiomas is using incredible satellite mapping technology to tell how is the land changing. That then allows the government of Brazil, for example, to enforce their laws because they can see where people are encroaching on the land. And then actual prosecutions have happened. And then, thanks to groups like Global Witness, has helped pass a law saying manufacturers can't use things that come from illegally taken rainforest. And it means banks now won't lend to people if it can be shown that they're taking out the rainforest. You build this whole ecosystem of actors, and they're all linked into this web or network. We call it an impact constellation, that working together can drive the change at scale that we need.
I think there's something to the old adage that we're stronger together, and cooperation in the long term is always better than going it alone.
We're all in a period of trying to analyze a huge amount of change that is flooding over the global governance system. And I think we need these social innovations to help remind people of what is possible.
No problem stays the same. And so how we organize to solve problems also needs to change. We need to constantly be iterating our solutions.
I think we all know, and social innovators know this as well, no individual organization, no individual has the scale, the heft to change a system alone. It really requires sector alliances that are greater than the sum of their parts. And that together, in a world of dynamism, polycrisis, complexity, fraying of the social fabric, social innovation is an approach and strategy whose time has truly come.